The time has come for lions to tell I and I own story. Yes, you're listening to Lion's Voice. I and I is Rastabat hailing from the island of St. Croix. Yeah, I'm bringing to you Rastafari vibes. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Babylon born when Rasta come together. Can you feel it? Rastafari, because Babylon done when I and I come together. Look how we live together, look how we work together, Oh, Babylon done when Rasta come together. Hail I, Rastafari, His Majesty and Empressment and bless. Yeah man, hailing from St. Croix, Rastafari, hail you.
Aye.
Love,
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Number one thing that he did as a military leader is restore peace and security. That's number one. You cannot have development without peace and security. These Sahel countries have been tormented by Islamic terrorists. And again, we started off by identifying that these terrorists on the continent, whether it be Boko Haram, whether it be this, whether it be that, who is funding them? Follow the money. You know what I mean? They don't just, the bush and Africans can buy, rice and flour, but them have brand new gun, drone and this and that. Follow the money, family. So, one of the first things he did was restore peace and security. How did he do that? Number one, he kicked out France. They did a deal with the Russians. So again, they kicked out the G7 bloc, did a deal with the Russians. All of a sudden now, the Burkina Faso military. And before, when they had the French there, the Burkina Faso army didn't have enough weapons. They had to borrow weapons from their neighboring countries, to go on operation. And then after the operation, they have to give back the gun. I found all of this doing research on the internet, from a speech that Ibrahim Touré, gave. And now, they did a deal, military assistance with Russia. They have arms, they have equipment. They were able to go on the offensive and run out the terrorists. So they were able to establish peace and security, win the hearts of the Burkina Faso people. And I think it's over 20 assassination attempts now that the Brethren has beat, because they have been able to establish that patriotism within the Burkina Faso people. And the people see the vision. So everyone who will get by off, they only get so far. And what is helping this brethren is that as a military man, the people around him are his military brethren who went to war with him. So he trusts them. He always has on his military gear. You can tell, same bulletproof vest, all of them things there in place. Him carry him sidearm, if he have a bus shot, even when he's meeting world leaders. The man move militant, I tell you, them.
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Voice. The second beast was given the power to give breath unto the image of the first beast, so that the image could speak, and caused all who refused to worship the image to be killed. It also forced the people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive the mark on their right hands and in their forehead. Gone down in the new world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip. And them prison cell, that's the new slave ship. New world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip. And them video game, that's the new matrix. It's a new world order, them start bleaching. Diverse doctrine, them start preaching. The angels for the stars they reaching. They're falling, never hear the lion calling. New world order, them fight against the poor. Machine and robot that sweep them floor. Machine and robot that run them stores. So them create disease ones without any cure. The new world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip. And them prison cell, that's the new slave ship. New world order.
Do you have to tell the people about Rastafari?
Light to the world. The king of kings and the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. Elect himself, first rightful ruler. Hey yo, yeah, hear them high, hear the black king on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy, who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your
I
night.
heard of that.
From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just open them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them come without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill. The lion will come conquer Judah tribe.
Who?
Go through tribulation, and I strive, see sufferation, and I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come to tell them in a Toronto, straight at
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chazmach Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an artist, I'm an author, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of the Lion's Voice. Welcome to the Lion's Voice, and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own story. This is a special episode today. We're going to return to the Rastafari Man standard and the topic of leadership, but we are going to do that by examining one of the bright stars that has emerged on the African continent in Burkina Faso. Before we do that, I want to just take the time and congratulate the new president of Ghana, John Mahama, who just won the presidential election in Ghana. We're going to have some guests that talk more in depth from a Rastafari perspective, what's the prospect and what's going on in Ghana. You see, I have my Ghana gear today. Festive, because we give thanks. One of the things that gave I a sparkle of hope watching this new president, looking at clips online and different speeches, trying to piece together what the agenda is that, one of his lines of attack on the previous government was how they had negative relations with their neighbors, and in particular Burkina Faso and Ibrahim Toure. We haven't talked that much about what's happening in the Sahel states in Africa. I've mentioned it, but I want to let the family know that we are going to do some deep diving into what's going on in the Sahel states. And this is call this the soft launch of, our examination of the new Africa, the alternative Africa that is emerging. All right, family. Today's topic was inspired by a clip that I saw on the internet of this African leader, Ibrahim Toure, examining some gold bars. I said, all right, now at time. But let us watch the clip and then we can comment.
Here is your latest Africa news. Burkina Faso nationalizes 2 gold mines from British mining company. Burkina Faso has reached a deal to nationalize 2 gold mines for about $80 million, which London-based Endeavour Mining had planned to sell last year to another mining firm, Lilium Mining, owned by an American, for more than $300 million. The 2 mining companies ended up in disagreement during the planned sale, prompting Burkina Faso to intervene and take matters into its own hands. As a result, Lilium Mining will now transfer ownership of the Boungou and Waknion mines to the West African state, which will pay Endeavour only $60 million in cash, instead of the $300 million Endeavour Mining initially sought. The settlement follows controversy surrounding governance at Endeavour, after former chief executive Sebastien de Montessus was dismissed earlier this year for serious misconduct. Both mining companies will drop their legal cases against each other. Endeavour initiated arbitration in March against Lilium for missing payments, while Lilium lodged a counterclaim a month later, alleging that information about the finances and operations of the 2 mines was concealed and misrepresented. Endeavour stated that both parties would like to thank the government of Burkina Faso for its mediation efforts. Lilium Mining, a subsidiary of Lilium Capital, an investment vehicle founded by American businessman Simon Timtora, declined to comment. The nationalization of the mines by Ouagadougou is the latest example of African governments seeking to exert greater control over their natural resources as military regimes come to power. In June, the new government that took control in Niger last year revoked the mining license of French state-owned giant Orano at the Imuraren mine, one of the world's largest uranium mines, located in the country's north. Orano's chief executive, Nicolas Mais, informed investors last month that the company had initiated legal proceedings to protect its rights at Imuraren. Gold miners in Mali, including Barrick Gold, the world's second largest producer of the precious metal, have also faced pressure from the Malian government, which aims to increase its ownership of new projects under an updated mining code adopted last year. Burkina Faso revised its mining code last year to earn more royalties from mining companies, following a decline in gold output due to the long-running security crisis, which forced at least 5 mines to shut down.
Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to receive updates on our latest videos. And always remember, Africa is watching.
Mighty. We were just interviewing our great elder Ras Zola, talking about food sovereignty and the ability to make decisions, the ability to control one's destiny, and all these things was at the forefront. And this move here to I show I that the brethren is dealing with true sovereignty. I hear this word sovereignty. One's use it wholly, saying that we're sovereign, and then the conversation or the conversation stop right there. So, and when it comes time to do the work to actually become sovereign, the workers are few, but everybody has said them sovereign, But when it comes time to do the work, this brethren is doing the work, and that is why today's episode we are going to focus on 5 things this brethren is doing to ensure that Burkina Faso will be a sovereign nation. So check it out. We say on this platform, the Lion Pride know I'm on stance, I don't know how many in the Lion Pride. I'm going to put up a poll. I don't know how many in the Lion Pride agree with I, but I say World War III has started. There's a hot war, and then there's a cold war. Hot war means active missiles launching. So, for example, this strong that just passed, Ukraine launched attacker missiles into Russia once again. And for those who are not aware, an attacker missile is an American-made missile that can only be fired by American technical people. So Russia had said previously that if these missiles are used, that they consider Russia to be at war in America. Now, for political reasons. None of these sides have declared war against each other because of the ramifications. So there's been no formal word sound block, but the practical reality is that America is launching missiles at Russia. So this means that there is, in fact, a hot war taking place between two. And, when we look at the chessboard, I say it's the G7 against the BRICS nations. Now, there are some complexities in there that can be an oversimplification, but we can look at the post, the global south, and then we can look at the colonial powers is another way to look at this delineation. So this World War III taking place, it does have Cold War aspects, and part of the Cold War aspect are the conflicts on the African continent. One of the things I want us to know as a Lion Pride, as a community here, as Rastafari who seek knowledge, is anytime we see war, you're looking at the symptom. We got to follow the money, as they say. War is very expensive. Shot costs. You know what I mean? Every bullet costs. Every gun costs. Equipment breaks down. They have to be repaired. Keeping soldiers in the field, they have to be getting some type of money, some remuneration. So it costs. So you don't just have, a lot of time we just see terrorist group and it pop up and you feel like there's something financing, there's some entity that is financing all of these, and most of them on the continent are either sponsored by countries from the G7 or the Global South. Most of the Islamic terrorism, according to people like Professor Jeffrey Sachs, and very prominent, I was just watching an interview, and if you don't know who Professor Jeffrey Sachs is, Google him and check him out. But he just said Al Qaeda is always been funded by the US. You know what I mean? I'm not saying this. This is what the professor is saying. So YouTube, just take time with the channel. We're reporting the facts. Now, knowing this, we're going to talk about some of the things that highlight the change that's going on in Africa through leadership, bold leadership. And again, we're going to relate it to the Rastafari man, because one of the goals of this channel, I'm reasoning with the sister, and the sister said they can't find a good man, a man to stand up, a man to lead a family. They're searching. So I have a good portion of young Rastafari viewership, or just young Pan-African viewership. So I want to instill principles of leadership, because as a man, you're called upon to be a leader at a minimum of your own family. And no matter what Western feminism tells you, women want a man who can lead. If you want your relationship to be prosperous, if you want your woman to respect and to, keep that spark, you have to be a leader as a man. And so we want to cultivate leadership on this platform. And there's no better way to cultivate leadership than by examining people who are living that example of what leadership entails. So today we are going to go into the rising star on the continent. Today we are going to go into the rising star on the continent, Ibrahim Toure. We pray for this brother, the youngest president on the planet, I believe, and doing such powerful things. We're going to set the tone by looking at His Majesty's speech to the University College of Addis Ababa. You know how we do it over here, family. Give us the teachings of His Majesty, nothing else. We not deal with over that. So we are going to set the tone with and then we'll see if Ibrahim Toure exemplifies these traits. You know what I mean? I want to know in the comments. I'm going to read it. And then the item let I know, because we have to keep this platform interactive. I don't want to be here talking to myself. The item will let I know whether or not he meets the criteria. And as we look at this criteria for every brethren out there, sistren too, but particularly brethren, because we're cultivating brethren to lead their families. Examine yourself and see whether or not you're living up to this standard, because it's up to I and I. And yes, you know what I mean, I and I were over 40 years old. You know, the youth them start call I elder. I don't like it, because I'm not past 60 and me young, and most of them, if we get them on a ball field, we shift them up to, or if we get them on a basketball court, we cross over, leave them. You know what I mean? However, we face the reality that we're full of grey, and even though we feel young, when the youths them look upon I and I, they're seeing an ancient man walking. That's the reality where we reach in life, brethren and sistren. But for I and I who reach this stage, and for I in particular who have a family and, you know, stand at the head of I and I family, it's our responsibility, you know. All of the brethren I know who are prospering right now, on their purpose and really shining, are family man, the majority. You know what I mean? Now there are always exceptions to the rule, but we don't build for the exception, we build for the rule, you know what I mean? Because that's the stability. So most of the brethren who are excelling right now, and in this Armageddon, you don't want to be taking your time to be courting multiple women, dealing with, that's a time suck that you could be using to generate resources, prepare for what's coming, all of these things. Right now you have to be focused, brethren. So I really want to gift I and I this leadership, IRITS, so that we can lead our families into this next phase of Rastafari, which is going to be unprecedented in terms of the development and the growth of the movement. I keep saying our golden years are ahead of us, and I mean it. And for the Pan-African family, this is going to be a boon to the Pan-African family, because if Rastafari is strong, we will be part of that mosaic, that Pan-African mosaic. You know, so our unity doesn't mean uniformity. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean everybody is the same. I speak to my core audience, but within that core is the universality. That's why we have over 1,000 people in the Lion Pride coming in every strong. We're the fastest growing Rastafari Pan-African platform on the planet. Well, I now go say Pan-African. We're the fastest growing Rastafari platform on the planet. Why? Because we are here, you know what I mean, bringing forth that love and that unity. All right, so we're going to read from the famous speech of His Majesty to the University College of Addis Ababa. University College of Addis Ababa predates Haile Selassie University, and it ultimately evolved into becoming Haile Selassie University. And this speech at the 6th graduation, located on page 12 of the selected speeches, is a must-read for every Rastafari man and woman, and it serves as the foundation for the Rastafari man standard that we champion here on the Lion Voice Network and as part of our Lion Pride training initiative. We are firmly all about cultivating leadership in Rastafari man to lead a prosperous and united Rastafari future. So I'm going to skip ahead in the speech. Again, I recommend everyone to read it. I'm going to skip ahead to the section that starts sense of responsibility. And we're going to use this as a metric to judge our brother Ibrahim Traore. And forgive the pronunciation in the rest of the episode. We're trying to get better. Give thanks. All right. So, sense of responsibility, glory to word, glory to sound, glory to the Holy One of creation, His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Selassie the First. All right. So, leaders are people who raise the standard by which they judge themselves and by which they are willing to be judged. The goal chosen, the objective selected, the requirements imposed are not merely for their followers alone. They develop with consummate energy and devotion their own skill and knowledge in order to reach the standards they themselves have set. This wholehearted acceptance of the demands imposed by ever higher standards is the basis of all human progress. A love of high quality, we must remember, is essential in a leader. Dependability is another requirement in a leader. To be dependable is to be willing to accept responsibility and to carry it out faithfully. A leader will always be willing to take counsel from his people, but will often have to act on what his own mind tells him is right. This demands that a leader has trained himself out of any inordinate fear of making mistakes. To embark successfully on a career involving leadership demands a courageous and determined spirit. Once a person has decided upon his life work and is assured that in doing the work for which he is best endowed and equipped, he is fulfilling a vital. This is a key, because this is how you identify your purpose. So, we say purpose over that's something there. Let me read that one more time. Once a person has decided upon his life's work and is assured that in doing the work for which he is best endowed and equipped, he is fulfilling a vital need. What he then needs is faith and integrity, coupled with a courageous spirit, so that no longer preferring himself to the fulfillment of his task, he may address himself to the problems he must solve in order to be effective. Mighty. So let's apply that to Ibrahim Traore. The brethren have taken over the country with his brethren in the military, and now the needs of the country, the infrastructure. We're gonna see, is he doing anything for infrastructure, for agriculture? What else is he doing to address the problems that he must solve in order to be effective? All right, let's continue. And I'm going to jump in every now and then as we read, just to highlight the point. One mark of a great leader is that he feels sufficiently secure to devote his thought and attention to the well-being of his subordinates and the perfection of his task, rather than constantly being worried about the approval or disapproval of others. One time you would never see a Rastafari asking for ones to support their platform, because, ones wouldn't do that, because we grow with the concept that, money is, we don't go after money, we don't do works for money, we do it for the zeal, which, is not a mature viewpoint, because we realize now that to make the work sustainable, there have to be economics in the work, or else it doesn't become sustainable. So once the work, and this is why Ismaisi said, once it's fulfilling a vital need, it's not frivolous. So you're doing something worthy, you have to find the economics in there. You don't worry about people saying, look how the rest keep asking people for money. We're not worried about that. Same with Ibrahim Traore, which is saying, I'm building a nation, no matter what the Western people saying, he's a dictator, he's this, he's that, which these things they said about Thomas Sankara as well, because he had to go after the unions and the press because they were corrupted. You cannot watch that as a leader. You have to just move forward with what you know it's right. But listen to this. He who would be a leader must pay a price in self-discipline and moral restraint. This entails the correction and improvement of personal character, the checking of passions and desires, and an exemplary control of one's bodily needs and drives. Leaders have to submit themselves to a strict self-discipline and develop a more exemplary moral character than is expected of others. To be first in place, one must be first in merit as well. It should not surprise us then to find that the greater number of acknowledged leaders have been people who have trained themselves in the art of discipline and obedience. Ibrahim Traore is a military man. He served, from the ground coming up. So it's, again, it should be no surprise. And yet, to be a soldier, he has to be disciplined. He who has not learned to render prompt and willing service to others will find it difficult to win and keep the goodwill and cooperation of his subordinates. Further, and it says a leader must stay ahead. Further, a leader must possess initiative, which is the creative ability to think in new ways and do new things. A leader must always to stay ahead. He cannot afford to set up a procedure and then fold his hands and linger lazily watching it work. He cannot be content merely to see new trends and take advantage of them. He must keep his imagination vividly alive so as to originate ideas and start trends. A word of warning is in order here. To help one's subordinates and dependents at the cost of harm to the public is tantamount to sacrilege and blasphemy. This is where we burn out corruption. It is unfortunate that many in positions of leadership, both great and small, have been found guilty of such practices. A good leader is devoted to his work and will willingly forego even demands of sleep to see its accomplishment. We know about that life there. And for the brethren out there, if you kick up your foot on a bun chalice and play a video game, or you kick up your foot, watch TV and documentary, or you not pursue your purpose with vigor, you're not putting in time to manifest your purpose, then you are in a sinking sand and you will be consumed in this Armageddon non-partial judgment. You must identify and pursue your purpose. Look how much thing a leader have to deal with. You cannot deal with none of this if you don't understand what your purpose is and move to it. So that is the number one priority. Eddie, brethren, I buck up. I should ask, what's the high purpose? And you should be able to say in a sentence or two what it is. And if you cannot, that is something to work on. You should have your personal mission statement. Yeah. A good leader, again, is devoted to his work and will willingly forego even the demands of sleep to see its accomplishment. This does not mean that he is impetuous. On the other hand, he maintains a balance between emotional drive and sound thinking. Balance your thing. Don't use zeal and you burn out and you cannot accomplish the work. You have to rest. You have to spend time with your children. You have to make sure you impress Hyla. You have to make sure, bills paid. You have to balance everything. Don't become a zealot, because it's not sustainable and it's not scalable usually. Zealots, them burn hot for a time and then them disappear. His labors, which sometimes appear excessive, derive from his firm realization that unless a man undertakes more than he can possibly do, he will never be able to do all he can do. It is his enthusiasm that stimulates his energy. No matter what our point of departure in speaking of leadership, we reach the inescapable conclusion that the art of leadership consists in the ability to make people want to work for you when they are really under no obligation to do so. A true leader is one who realizes by faith that he is an instrument in the hands of the Almighty and dedicates himself to be a guide and inspire of the noble sentiments and aspirations of the people. You will kindle interest, teach, aid, correct, and inspire those whom He leads will cooperate with him in maintaining discipline for the good of the group. He will instruct his followers in the goals towards which to strive and create in them a sense of mutual effort for attaining the goal. So, brethren, this is our mission right now. Our sistren, our children, our parents, the nation is dependent on the man, them, to rise, take their responsibility, rise in your purpose. I don't subscribe, even though I love to see the daughter them on the battlefield. I don't subscribe to waiting for the daughter them to rise, or you're glad because the daughter them will rise, or you sit down and kick up your foot them and watch the daughter them. I don't subscribe to that. I think the man them for lead. You know what I mean? And I must rise each other, non-partial judgment. Leadership. Is Ibrahim Traore an example? Does he inspire? Let us know down in the comments your thoughts. Does he meet these requirements? Does it make sense? Let's have the reasoning. So before I go any further, I want to just big up the Lion Pride. 16,300 plus at the time of recording. It is so humbling, to see the ones them coming in, to see the comments increasing, because one of the things is that you can have subscribers, but if they're not interacting with the platform, the algorithm, subscribers is not the maximum right now. Engagement. And this goes for all of the content creators who are out there, all of the Rastafari independent non-aligned media. Know that where the thing is right now, it's about engagement. How are you engaging with your audience? And this is why I love the Lion Pride, and we're going to do the comment of the strong, because we've had so many powerful comments coming in. It's getting very difficult to just choose one. So this is just representative of the quality. So let's go into the comment of the strong. Mighty. So you can see, the community is active. It's a high level Rastafari reasoning, and we are bubbling. So big up all of the Lion Pride. Again, if you subscribe, you are part of the Lion Pride. If this is your first time on the platform, welcome. We are a Rastafari independent non-aligned media platform. So welcome. We service the Rastafari and the Pan-African family, and anyone who has an interest, in being a positive part of the global family. All are welcome. All races, all creeds are welcome here on the platform. But our core, we are unapologetically Rastafari, and based off of the teachings of His Majesty, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. So I also want to just big up my Lion Pride on Patreon. And, we've been appealing to our core audience to help us to reach our goal of 100 people in the Patreon. And it's been very rough, I'm not seeing the people coming. It's getting very sticky for I and I to meet that goal. However, it is making I to appreciate love some of my core Lion Pride on Patreon who just quietly support every month, the 25 of the item who are consistent. It really make I man, the love. And I realize that to increase the Patreon, we have to increase the love, because it's love that's gonna bind us together. And if we don't love ourselves as Rastafari, then why would we support Rastafari independent non-aligned media? We wouldn't feel no responsibility. We would say, yeah man, the brethren there deal with him thing, and if it survive, we give thanks, we'll watch it. But we wouldn't feel no responsibility like it's I and I thing unless we increase the love. So I'm going to be working diligently, because one of the things as a content creator, you cannot blame the people. You know what I mean? The people are who the people are. You know, we have to sharpen our sword so that we light that spark some way in our audience to see that our fates are intertwined. By supporting I, you support the I self. You know what I mean? By having a world-class Rastafari media platform, it raises the I stature wherever the I go, and when the I have a works and need a suitable place to articulate, you know, that works or that thought, you have a platform available that is befitting of the level of which you are. And that is what we are building in real time. And like I said, big up the 25 angels, fire angels that see the vision, that stand with I. We need 75 by January 1st. More people, much more than that, will watch this video. So I'm just asking a few, the cost of a cup of coffee, $5 a month, $10 a month, and we depend on that consistent income to fund the whole operation. The StreamYard, we want to get more cameras, we want to get better lighting. There's a whole vision. All of that will be funded by audience participation. So we're building on the audience model to keep ourselves truly independent, because when you rely on the sponsorship model or even just the YouTube model, because we do monetize on YouTube as well, but when you rely on that YouTube cut you off, you're finished. The vision long term is to partner with other in Rastafari independent non-aligned media and build some warehouses where we have our own servers. Sister Fanai, Rastafari TV been saying that, you know what I mean? We need our own servers, we need our own infrastructure, and big up Ras Zola. If you haven't seen our episode on food sovereignty, black food sovereignty, watch it. The man won some hot fire. I don't even let me just show a little piece.
Ones and ones in like this thing about black food sovereignty. Then like they want to feed us. You see that a picture with a woman feeding that child? Eh?
Yes.
That's how black people is. Black people is the child, and white people is the mother.
Wow.
Okay. And then any other people who feeding I, that cannot be. We gotta be self-sufficient. Now back to the sovereignty. Sovereignty constructs like a nation state. Sovereignty or a sovereignty construct like a nation state can generally be defined as supreme authority. Sovereignty entails hierarchy with the state as well as external autonomy for states. Basically, we're talking about decision making. So when we talk about black food sovereignty, we're talking about who making the decisions. But let's state the food sovereignty for now and leave the black out of it.
Okay.
In contrast to food security, food sovereignty emphasizes the right of communities to define their own food system and policies. Now, why I have been so determined to spread the gospel of black food sovereignty. Now, when you say gospel, people think right away about religion. But gospel is also the good word.
Yes, good news.
It's good news, that's right.
Mighty. Fire was hot. You know what I mean? Because the brethren say, if you cannot feed yourself, you're not determining your food. Whoever feed you is your parent, your mother. You know what I mean? So it's a reality that we're facing right now. And, you know what I mean? Everything that we're working toward with this Rastafari independent media, the end, or I wouldn't even say the end because there's no end to the journey, but the destination, or one of the destination or the milestones, is self-determination for the Rastafari family. We're feeding ourselves, we're educating our own youths, we're employing our own youths. You know what I mean? If we have a media infrastructure, we can employ our youths as intern, as this or that or, coder, animator, videographer, all of these jobs and profession that come out of the content creation space. We are the Rastafari companies. I am building one. So again, I give thanks for the family that have supported. We need 75 to jump in. I talked to a couple brethren, so you will see the Ubuntu Lion Pride grow a little bit. I'm not counting those ones in the 75. So we need 75 that are on the reoccurring Patreon, because that's part of the sustainability, the long-term sustainability. We need monthly income to help to facilitate. And again, $5-10 is not hurting anyone, because we're spending that in Babylon so we can spend it on ourselves. So big up everyone in the Lion Pride on Patreon, and know that the love, is here. Some of the ones that I don't know, they've never sent even a message. They just there and a support and I just want the item know some. I love the item. I don't want to call names because I might forget one or two. But the item know who the item are, and just know that these are the things that when I'm editing late at night, after my other job, that pays the bills, and we have to, sometimes you're tired, but you still have to keep the consistency, because we say consistency beats perfection every day of the strong. These are the ones that keep I inspired, because I said these ones don't know I from nowhere, but yet still they're, every month they contribute, to a brethren vision. Or a family vision, because not even I vision. I work with Iman Queen. Big up our producer on the lives and behind the scenes, all of the professional. Anyone who's come on the platform know there's a whole system. That's the Queen, So I can support a black family. I big up all of those who supporting a black family business, Rastafari family business. Big up the item. Big up the Ubuntu Lion Pride until January 1st. $50 US gets you into the Ubuntu Lion Pride. January 1st, it's going to $70 because we have our own value. You have to value yourself as a creative. We're approaching 20,000 subscribers. We are. I was talking to one of my brethren who have a platform, and big platform, and him say, I heard you calling yourself a small platform. Stop do that, King, because your thing is not small. Much people been doing YouTube for years and decades and don't reach where I reach, and I reach so fast because I judge myself so hard, family. This is why I look at it, to where I know that this is going. To I'm still a little baby, but the brethren say stop it. So I respect the brethren, so I will stop saying small, but I will say emerging platform. We're an emerging platform. So big up everyone who has shown that love, and we're gonna multiply the love on this platform and know that the people feel love, and we're gonna spread that love. So that is how we are going to generate the resources, through that love. So big up the Ubuntu Lion Pride. Get in while you can. It's a good way for a small business. You get your name every episode of content on the platform. We just did about 30,000 views in the last 28 days plus. So we're growing. The audience is growing. The subscribers is a lot less, as than the actual people who are watching the content. So it's a good way. If you're a small Rastafari Pan-African business, you pay a one-time fee. You get that name recognition with the audience. But that window is closing, $50 US until January 1st. Then it goes to $70. Big up the heart and soul the man them where don't have a dollar to their name, the sister them that don't have a dollar to their name, or they, for whatever reason they cannot become part of the Lion Pride and Patreon, but they are the Action Lion Pride. They like, they comment, they share, and we see the shares going up. So big up all of them warrior there where I send out the thing. Big up the watch and peep Lion Pride, the ones who watch and the ones who peep. See if we pop down. Big up yourself, same way. Everyone within the family. Ras Lidge, big up yourself. Ramia King Design. You see the email at the beginning of the episode. Send them a message. They ship all over the US. And we also have best CMOS drink on the planet. Big up yourself. CMOS Life. Ras Wolde doing deliveries in the DMV area. All right. So housekeeping out of the way. Let us go into the topic, which is Ibrahim Toure, and I want to do 5 things that he has done during his tenure as leadership that puts him in the category and makes him worthy to examine as an example of leadership. Number one thing that he did as a military leader is restore peace and security. That's number one. You cannot have development without peace and security. These Sahel countries have been tormented by Islamic terrorists. And again, we started off by identifying that these terrorists on the continent, whether it be Boko Haram, whether it be this, whether it be that, who is funding them? Follow the money. You know what I mean? They don't just, the bush, and Africans can buy, rice and flour, but them have brand new gun, drone, and this and that. Follow the money, family. So one of the first things he did was restore peace and security. How did he do that? Number one, he kicked out France. Once he kicked out France, guess what happened? They find out, say, they were able to repel the terrorists. Wow, how did that happen? France was supposed to be there maintaining peace and security, but they had a policy that they would counterattack after a month after sometime the terrorist strike. So it never, and they had surveillance. They couldn't find the terrorists. As soon as they kicked out the French, they did a deal with the Russians. So again, they kicked out the G7 bloc, did a deal with the Russians. All of a sudden now, the Burkina Faso military, and before when they had the French there, the Burkina Faso army didn't have enough weapons. They had to borrow weapons from their neighboring countries, to go on operation, and then after the operation they have to give back the gun. I found all of this doing research on the internet from a speech that Ibrahim Toure gave. And now they did a deal, military assistance with Russia. They have arms, they have equipment. They were able to go on the offensive and run out the terrorists. So they were able to establish peace and security win the hearts of the Burkina Faso people. And I think it's over 20 assassination attempts now that the Brethren has beat, because they have been able to establish that patriotism within the Burkina Faso people. And the people see the vision. So everyone who will get buy off, they only get so far. And what is helping this brethren is that as a military man, the people around him are his military brethren who went to war with him. So he trusts them. He always has on his military gear. You can tell, say, bulletproof vest, all of them things there in place. Him carry him sidearm, if he have a bus shot, even when he's meeting world leaders. The man move militant, I tell you, them, is a serious youth. 35 years old, the youngest president on the continent. And again, we big up Ghana president, who said he's looking to improve relations with Ibrahim Toure and the rest of the leaders of the Sahel region. And we'll do deep dives into each of the countries, because each of them have their own charismatic leader at the head who stand with Ibrahim Toure. So this is something that we're going to examine, because this is going to be one of the inflection points in the Cold War portion of World War III. And when we say Cold War, we're talking proxy war, you know. So Ukraine at first was really a Cold War until the Americans started firing the missile, then it became a hot war. I was calling World War III from the Cold War, because Cold War, people still are dead. Congo, all of these things is also Sudan, Somalia, all of these things are part of the Cold War that's taking place. So we'll get into those things, but in terms of Ibrahim Toure, number one thing he did was restore peace and security. Okay. Number two is massive investments in agricultural projects. We always say no culture without agriculture. This is how you know a man's serious. He is seeking food sovereignty in the country. The latest I just saw, I think this strong, was the delivery of state-of-the-art rice sorting equipment that he's supplying to ensure that the rice produced, you're able to get out the rocks and the impurities in the rice, so it's competitive with rice on the global market. So these are, things, some of the things, but everything from soil enrichment, forestry. The brethren embark on a massive agricultural campaign to make Burkina Faso food sovereign. Also, we cannot do this episode, and it would be remiss if I did not mention the great Thomas Sankara, who, as a leader, inspired this young man. Even the look, how the man moved, everything. Thomas Sankara famously, didn't take a high salary, live on modest means. Ibrahim Toure doing the same thing. He's still taking his military salary and reduce the salary of all the government officials. Brethren is moving in the light of Thomas Sankara. As a global Rastafari movement, we need to send him the autobiography and the selected speeches and, a little care package. We should do that. I don't know who have the link. We have to talk to the Rastafari Continental, Congress on the continent, our umbrella organ on the continent. But that should be sent to this young brethren, And I'm gonna interview. We're gonna have a lot more African content, a lot of more African commentators in this Norman New Year after the January 1st. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. It's gonna be very powerful. Number 3 is the nationalization project. So the thing that inspired I to do this presentation was seeing the clip of him presenting the gold bars, and they have nationalized some of the gold mines, and now they are refining the gold and they'll be storing their own gold. And we know right now, anybody who's following the global markets know the cost of gold is through the roof, per ounce of gold. So this is hard cash that Burkina Faso has access to now, that they can start really build some wealth, and they can pay down on their debt. They can do all of these things that France, who was controlling all of these multinational companies in your country, controlling these resources. So you getting a royalty, a little pittance off of this, while they are becoming multi-billionaires, and they get these royalties. All they have to do is pay the leaders, to enrich their pocket, while they siphon off billions and hundreds of billions of dollars. Ibrahim Toure said, no, can't happen in my place, and take over some of the mines, bought them from the companies that, he made sure them get a little bit of money. But he take the resources, and now they're refining their gold. And this clip was a presentation. So powerful, you know what I mean, the nationalization, taking over the resources so that you build an economic base. This is something that I'm preaching also in Rastafari with our creative industry, with the Association of Rastafari Creatives, other things that we nationalize our resources, our IP, you know, the ITAL, the IRI, the Livity. All of these sounds are come out of I&I. But we don't control them, you know what I mean? We're not benefiting off of them. They're generating billions of dollars a year, and none of that is going into any centralized entities dealing with Rastafari. So this is why Rastafari independent non-aligned media is so important, because we have to control our sound. We can't depend on a third party to give you an interview, to get out the sound, to get to a larger audience. We build our own audience. We put out our own sound. This is the Livity. You understand? All right. 4, the major infrastructure projects, roads construction. You know, he's embarked on a massive road construction, widening the roads, paving the roads, crucial for moving goods and people and services. The airport, you know what I mean, massive construction project, brand new hospital project that they're embarked in that should be done shortly. And also a dam, and these are financed by, some of them by the African Development Bank, some by ECOWAS, some by, you know, different, you know, partnerships. But we know that the BRICS nation, even some of the Arab states are funding like the dam project. But you know, the BRICS nations are going to be coming in there with funds to support the infrastructure. So these are major. Number 5, renewable energy projects. The Brethren is building solar energy hubs in the rural areas to power the villages. Revolutionary. And also, the Brethren is building massive solar energy plants. We have a mini solar energy plant out at Kazi, solar car park. But this is part of the building of Zion. These are going to be popping up all over the continent. We have so much sunlight, and as solar power gets more developed, because right now the panels only can get a certain percentage, but that conversion rate grows every year. They become more efficient. This is going to become a real viable solution. Right now, China is the leader in the world in solar panel construction, but we can get into making the panels. I think there's a company in Kenya that does it now. But these are areas that are going to grow, and the Brethren is investing. So these are 5 areas that the Brethren is dealing with. There is a Russian presence now on the ground that is supplementing his personal security, also surveillance, intelligence gathering. You know, they have the drones, the satellites, all of that. So they are, for those who are not aware, part now of this global war. The coup attempts continue. There was a major assassination attempt that was foiled. Former head of the military, head of, you know, government officials were implicated. It was a massive plot that was uncovered, and it was backed by the French and again that G7 bloc. And these attempts most likely will continue. The Brethren's life is in constant danger. So for all of those who don't feel like World War III is happening, know that there is this Cold War which implicates Mama Africa. Now, Africa's Armageddon has passed, meaning Africa will not be part of the hot war that will invariably unfold, likely in the European and the Middle Eastern theaters. You know what I mean? They've cut the Middle East, or, you know, which once was Northeast Africa, Palestine, all of that. Once was Northeast Africa, they're now calling it West Asia, to distance it from the continent. That is going to likely be theater between there and Iran, Syria, Lebanon, all of those, Turkey, all of those countries, most likely that's going to be the theater for the hot war that most likely is going to unfold. The European theater over there in Ukraine. Africa will not be within that, but the Cold War theaters, all of these conflicts, Sudan, Somalia, Chad, Libya, Niger, Mali, Nigeria, Cameroon, all of these places where you see the instability fomenting. These are all parts of the Cold War as these global blocs vie for resources. My prediction here that I've made on the Lion Voice is that as the hot war escalates on the other theaters, those main theaters, that the resources that are supplying these armies and terrorist groups down on the continent, that those supply lines are going to dry up or get deprioritized, which gives us the opportunity, just as in Burkina Faso, to stabilize and get rid of some of these elements so that the people can get forward to development. And what we, as Rastafari, what we're responsible for is to sound the trumpet of African unity. That I think Rastafari is the only power that can really defeat tribalism, which is the last scores, because it's I and I are standing in the problem. You know what I mean? The foreign powers are not sending their armies on our shores anymore. They're paying, people who are our enemies take money to kill their brothers and sisters. And this is the model that has been used to stop the progress. And this is why even in Rastafari, we are saying unity is the accepted goal. We can agree to disagree. We are pushing radical unity right now because we have a greater enemies to face, and we cannot afford to be fighting amongst one another. In this time, Rastafari, we are great, and I hope that, again, this brethren is inspiring young men, 35, leading a nation onto a new horizon. Each of us have the Most High within us. This is the revelation His Majesty come to give the world through the teachings of Yeshua. The Almighty living within inside of I and I. The kingdom of the Almighty is for I and I to manifest on this earth. It's for I and I to build. It's for I and I to inhabit and preserve. So, family, what did the item think about this brethren? Does he fit the criteria of leadership that His Majesty speak of in his university speech, the speech to the University College of Addis Ababa? Is this brethren the real deal? Sound off in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Just get my first comment from Hungary in Europe. Big up yourself, all the European Lion Pride. Big up yourself, same way. We love you same way. Non-partial. Every race, every creed, every knee shall bow, every tongue confess. Kadamari Haile Selassie the first. Yes, I. So perfect love and perfect blessings to the global family. Drop your comments. Let us know how you feel. Remember, 75 Fire Angels. I'm calling the item. I don't know who the item are, but I'm calling the item to join up in the Patreon. Don't let I have to talk about failure January morning. Let I and I celebrate the victory. We met one of our goals. We surpassed 10,000 already. Let us have the complete victory and keep the momentum and the tide sweeping. We are doing a new thing here, so we need your strength. Why? Because the time has come for the Lions to tell our own story, and this is the Lion's Voice.
Lion Voice. Yeah. Well, I listen to the first of the Almighty. And this is the Chaz Match Kwasi. Yeah, well, this is the big bad sound trooper with Wicked Trooper. Yeah, we slew them all and done. Well, give thanks to Jah, the Emperor. Give thanks to the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Give thanks to Jah, the Emperor. Him never woulda let sound trooper suffer. He's the omnipotent eye, everything him see, and yet he choose to fill him people with him mercy. Light of the world, might of the Trinity, and yet he choose to fight to set the Africans free. He educate the youth, he make the youths them study. He turned his palace to a university. He tell humanity we are one family. I know I still a cause him slew me enemy, me say fi give thanks to Jah. Well, sound trooper say fi give thanks to Jah. Well, sound trooper say fi give thanks to Jah. The Emperor, give thanks for the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Give thanks to Jah, the Emperor. Him never woulda let sound trooper suffer. Him a the omnipotent, well excellent. Me examine the work, me see him full up a talent. Him a the magnificent, well eloquent. Him on the battlefield, look how him slew this serpent. Him fight down in a the trench, fire can't quench. Him on the battlefield, him a the people's servant. Him a me shield and defense when things get tense. Me love Haile Selassie higher than them president. Me say fi give thanks to Jah. Well, then give thanks to Jah.